Wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2,000 calories a day to keep you strong when everything else shuts down. So don't wait until the crisis is here. Order today, and it ships fast and discreet. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com, because when the lights go out, the last thing you should be worrying about is feeding your family. Preparewithjustin.com. It's here, the grand reopening of the merch store. JustinBarkley.com/store. We've got brand new tees, hoodies, and gear in fresh designs, colors, and sizes, even some for the kids. You're going to find favorites like the FAFO, Fool Around, Find Out shirt, the Gulf of America tees, sweats, and more. And alligator Alcatraz designs are ready to wear and ready to make a statement. And even cups. We've got mugs. We've got bags. We've got hats.
1-6-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Oh, man. Well, we're off to a great start this morning. Fast and furious as always. Prepared to talk about Strait of Hormuz and the president's new plan. And then we got news. Was a U.S. ship attacked by Iran inside the strait? We'll make sense of that coming up. The truth, sometimes stranger than fiction. We'll get to that story and some other news of the day. In fact, big news here in the state of Michigan, $900 a year. Talking about big savings coming up.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. You'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. These powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Calloway and the team. Good time to reach out. In fact, maybe we should in this next week or so to find out what rates are looking like. We know what the Fed's doing, but there's some things happening behind the scenes you may want to know about. Want to buy, refi, home equity, line of credit? We've saved thousands. Good time to give them a call and find out where things are. Reach out today so you can at least get positioned in the right way to save big money like we have so many other people that listen to this program.
Number 1.
At hhmlending.com. Well, 2 U.S. service members are missing after a Morocco training exercise of the military. AFRICOM reporting 2 American troops missing in southwestern Morocco following multinational military drills. The search underway. We pray for their safe return.
Number 2.
Speaking of which, was there really an attack on a U.S. warship in the Strait? Well, that's what Iran says. CENTCOM debunking it, calling it fake news. No U.S. Navy ships were struck, aligning with prior debunk claims, by the way. It's kind of interesting because they've done this over and over again. I don't know how many times we've seen since the beginning of this thing that they sunk the USS Abraham Lincoln. I mean, it's like their go-to, and I think there's a reason why they did this today more than anything. I'm going to talk about that coming up in a second, because it may actually shock you. Now, as this is all happening, Trump announcing Project Freedom in order to rescue ships trapped in the Strait. Yeah, obviously, what we're watching with Iran, part of it is the information warfare side of it, right? There's another piece that I think economically they wanted to hit, and that shouldn't be a shock or surprise, but it is kind of interesting. Trump's saying, though, Project Freedom, that U.S. military operation, will guide ships through these civilian ships. Anyway, free them from being stranded in the straits there. Due to the conflict, the effort beginning today. And of course, we've already seen oil prices react. And I think that has something to do with this latest story we're learning about this morning. I'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, $900 a year. Talk about saving money. The Michigan House Republicans have just unveiled a brand new package of bills set to slash property taxes, among other things. They would eliminate the $6 million state education tax, end the pop-up tax on home sales, repeal the real estate transfer tax, and cut other state property taxes, all while introducing a new 6% tax on luxury services. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't get any luxury services, you may be in favor of all this. Offset roughly nearly $5 billion in lost revenue. The Republicans say it would save the average homeowner about $900 a year. Speaking of saving money, we've got millages on tap for tomorrow at the ballot booth. Now, let's dig in. What's out there? In fact, James Dixon joins us coming up at about 9:35. No fan of millages. I think he's identified like the top 10 worst right out there right now. We'll see if maybe one in your backyard made the list. Hang on, folks. In the meantime, giving you a chance to join the program at any time you can. Jump on the phone or use that iHeartRadio app, that microphone button. It's
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
All right, so I think the biggest thing behind, if I can today, the story about the now debunked, oh yeah, we're attacking U.S. ships. We just got another one, along with sinking the U.S. Abraham Lincoln. I think what we're watching happening right now, specifically today, is economically, let's just say it's economically directed. In fact, Iran had to come out. Apparently, they're walking back this statement right now.
The state media that a U.S. warship has turned back from the area of the Strait of Hormuz, and that according to Iran's Navy, it's prevented the entry of U.S. warships into the Hormuz area, according to state television, going on to add that 2 missiles hit a U.S. warship near Jask Island after it ignored Iranian warnings. Now, this is being reported by the Fars news agency. That's state media in Iran. I cannot, at this moment, independently verify that for you. But this is what we're hearing from the Iranians.
There's a reason for that, chap. The reason is it did not happen. In fact, CENTCOM coming out with the latest on this as well, debunking it. And again, this is just another one. I think the reason why we're watching this today is because they're learning, and it's sort of trolling. They're learning what President Trump loves to do over the weekend, drop some good news about the Strait or about the war, the effort, etc., and then watch the stock market rip up
and oil prices tank. And that's what was happening until a little earlier this morning, apparently. So Iran walking that back, the claim that they struck 2 U.S. warships in or near the Strait of Hormuz, now reportedly saying it was just a warning shot. And it's unclear if there was damage. Well, we don't. I wouldn't be surprised if there was not even a warning shot. At this point, it's just you can't. It's like Baghdad Bob. Remember Baghdad Bob from the Iranian or the Iraqi war? All the way to the end, Baghdad Bob was telling, we are winning the war. It is over. We are winning the Americans, yada, yada, yada. And he ended up in a spider hole with Saddam Hussein or whatever. Anyway, the CENTCOM message over on X, the claim they say, Iranian media state claims that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps hit a U.S. warship with 2 missiles. Truth, no U.S. Navy ships have been struck. U.S. forces are supporting Project Freedom and enforcing the naval blockade on Iranian reports. So that's from CENTCOM. And then you may say, well, I don't know who to believe. Well, that's a whole nother story and a question. I guess you'll just have to wait and see how things play out. But that's at least what we've heard from this morning. Iran's not happy that President Trump says he's going to start escorting because it's, again, taking the last and final piece off the game board for him.
Operation Epic Fury. Right now, U.S. forces are helping ships that are trapped in the Strait of Hormuz as part of what the president has dubbed Project Freedom.
So it comes as a second U.K. ship is reported they were attacked in the critical waterway. Mark Meredith is live at the White House with the latest. Mark.
Charlie, Brian, and Ainsley, good morning, friends. Once again, this morning, U.S. Central Command is denying an Iran report that it had struck a U.S. warship. This back and forth all comes as the White House is launching a new effort to basically unclog the Strait of Hormuz, get ships that have been stuck in the Persian Gulf out of the area. You can imagine what it's been like the last few months. The president is calling this a humanitarian mission in an effort to try to free up those ships. You can imagine what it's been like for those cargo crews who have been stuck, running out of food, waiting for relief. The president posting on Sunday, for the good of Iran, the Mideast, and the U.S., we have told these countries that will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so they can freely and ably get on with their business. The ship movement is merely meant to free up people, companies, and countries that have done absolutely nothing wrong.
So we'll wait and see how all of that plays out in the next coming days. Over the weekend, as you can imagine, they were all over the Sunday shows. And Scott Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, with this obvious piece of information about the economic pressure on Iran right now, as they try to put a little bit on us today. I don't really think it's going to play out the way they think. Specifically, you have the news that the ships weren't hit. I don't think America is going to be deterred at all. Dow futures have dropped 150 points. We'll see what happens on open and oil. I think both above 100. Gas prices at the pump, that'll remain to be seen how things move here. But Besson's saying these guys are trying to play this game. We'll see how it goes when the soldiers don't get
not have control of the strait. We have absolute control of the strait. We have blockaded the ships going into or out of Iranian ports. Their economy is in free fall, and everyone says they have the high tolerance for pain. Well, their soldiers will not have a high tolerance for not getting paid. Not have control of the strait.
Can you imagine? Why would they continue? Well, it'll be interesting to see now. And of course, as some of the reports on this continue to come out, we'll break it down for anything new in the next I don't know hour or so. The fastest hour radio, obviously flying by. I think that just took place on Fox News this morning. Bessent saying they're trying to cut off international freedom of navigation to the strait, and the U.S. is opening it up. Here's why they say a humanitarian act and an effort. It's not only energy that's in there, it's fertilizer. Farmers know this well. It's food transport, too. And All of those things are critical.
Let's level set here. I think the Iranians are starting to believe their own propaganda. And just to be clear, the leadership is hunkered down in bunkers all over the country. And I don't think they know what's going on. But what is going on is that they're reduced. Their navy is not a navy anymore. It's a band of pirates. They are trying to cut off international freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. is opening that up. This is a humanitarian effort. I can tell you, 2 weeks ago was IMF World Bank Week in Washington, and I had numerous countries come up to me, some of the poorest, some of the most vulnerable, and ask us to do this because it's not only energy that's in there, it's fertilizer, it's food transport, it's LPG for the more than the billion plus people in India use to cook. So we are saying the Iranians do not have control of the strait. We have absolute control of the strait. We have blockaded the ships going into or out of Iranian ports. Their economy is in free fall, and everyone says they have the high tolerance for pain. Well, their soldiers will not have a high tolerance for not getting paid.
There you have it again. All right. So that's the latest. Some other news over the weekend, as we mentioned. Yeah, we're going to get into the story about the there's more about this coming out about this Comey scenario, which is kind of fascinating. We had Blanche over on was it, which one of the shows was it? It doesn't matter. He was over on one of the shows this weekend saying that, hey, look, it's not looking good for James Comey. And by the way, it's not just what you've seen or what you know about when it comes to what we got on him. Not just a seashell photo on Instagram, 8647. There's more to this indictment. The folks that sat down to hear the grand jury, that sat down to hear the indictment, actually got a full picture of what's included, and there's much more inside. He just dropped the hammer over the weekend. We're going to have that coming up here in just a little bit as the arrests have begun. And folks, I will tell you, I'm cautiously optimistic. I understand a lot of us are just, well, I'll believe it when I see it, and I get that too. Everything else we've gone through the years, I understand that. But that piece of news critical to understanding the whole picture. We'll get into that coming up here in just a moment as well. And you can join the program at any time if you like. As I mentioned, Justin at justinbarkley.com, another great way to do it. And on the iHeartRadio app, courtesy of folks at MKD Funeral Homes, if you click that little microphone button next to the play button, it'll send your message, comment, complaint, question, whatever it might be, right to us. We'd love to hear from you, and you can do it now. As I mentioned, markets right now, Dow futures down 150, 151, I think. It's cooling down a little bit. I think it went down to 187 at one point. Either way, whether it's up or down, the roller coaster ride, boy, I tell you what, it can really make you feel nauseous. But you don't have to feel that way, especially if you're ready to retire, whether it's today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. Talon Wealth, Mike Lester and the team, guardingyournestegg.com. Want to make sure you get there. And you feel good about it when you do. Guardingyournestegg.com. Call 616-661-1000 today and tell them we sent you. God bless.
News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio
Here
app.
are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Monday, May 4th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Here in Michigan, ICE agents now banned from arresting illegal immigrants at courthouses or during reasonable and direct travel to and from courthouses. The liberal Michigan Supreme Court out with this ruling. The Michigan Sheriff's Association highlighting potential problems, noting the rule could put Michigan law enforcement officers in an untenable position of attempting to enforce the rule while interfering with a federal officer in the performance of their duties. In other news, under Jocelyn Benson's new rules, an unknown number of foreign registrants may be permanently shielded. Critics of the Michigan Secretary of State say rules she enacted through the state's Administrative Procedures Act make it easier to cheat and harder to challenge illegal votes. And House Republicans released their Help Up plan to cut property taxes and lower energy costs here in Michigan. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
For generations, Matthijs Kuiper.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you being here with us this morning over on the Behind the Scenes live stream. If you haven't done it yet, help us click share, get the word out. We need to break the algorithm, cut through the noise, truth, logic, and common sense. A full-scale injection into the populace watching here in Michigan, throughout the country, and beyond. Where some even watch as far as Australia. That's about as far away as you can get. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. The VIPs today, Karen Mando, already sharing over on Rumble. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate you, Gritter. Thank you, Panda. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Always appreciate you. Andrew Stuff is here. Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much. Over on the Rumble. Rumble. Beasley, Gary, thank you. Mama Jacobs, Duga. Good to see you. SJ, Tennyson, Such a Time as This, and many others on the book. Jessica, Bunny, Doug, Sherry, good to see you. Thank you so much, Brian, Jason, Sean, Cindy, and John's over on the tube. We got some tubers hanging out with us today. If you're on Getter, if you're on the tube, say hey and let us know where you're watching from so I can give you a little shout out as well this morning. All right. Stand by. Here we go. Back on the air, folks.
What the?
This Mother's Day, iHeartRadio honors all the moms in your life. Celebrate with the moms in music with iHeart Moms Radio. Explore playlists for the whole family, like Disney hits. Plus, plenty of mom-themed podcasts. Open the iHeartRadio app, search Mom, and listen now. iHeartRadio!
Setwood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
You'll see this over the weekend in Michigan and states throughout the country. Some of these wacko leftists let thousands of kids out of school. I mean, when reading scores and test scores, and I mean, we got some of the lowest of the low. It's kind of wild to watch, but they did let them out of school to join their communist May Day protests. You just can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's insanity. They're not hiding anymore. Believe them when they tell you who they are. Over the weekend on Meet the Depressed, Welker asking Todd Blanche about this Comey deal. It's not just seashells. They got lots more in the indication. Is what did the grand jury get to see?
Move on to former FBI Director James Comey. A grand jury has indicted the former FBI director for this Instagram post. I want to put it up. I think a lot of folks have seen it at this point. 8647 in seashells, which the indictment says, quote, a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States. How does that image of seashells amount to a serious threat against the president's life?
Well, every case requires an investigation. And what you just showed is one part of that investigation. What you just showed is the Instagram post. Rest assured that the career assistant United States attorneys in North Carolina, the career FBI agents, the career Secret Service agents that investigated this case didn't just look at the Instagram post and walk away. That's why you saw an indictment last week, notwithstanding the fact that it was last May that the post was made. So I am not permitted to get into the details of what the grand jury heard or found, as you know, but rest assured that it's not just the Instagram post that leads somebody to...
It's not just the Instagram post. Probably the most important piece you're going to hear. They got more behind the scenes. And by the way, he's not the only guy. Somebody else got charged. Another politician, a Democrat, over the weekend with similar threats. These people, and I can understand if you're, maybe a little hesitant. I get that. Comey's been in cuffs, and this other guy is in cuffs as well. They're fitting them for the orange jumpsuit right now. Yeah. Custom tailored. Back after this, James Dixon joins us talking about those millages for tomorrow. He's got like the 10 worst throughout the state. Maybe yours is on that list. He's up next after bottom of the hour news right here on West Michigan Live. It's Wood Radio.
Wherever you are, stream us on your smartphone. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
That Red Talkback mic on the free iHeart app, it's more powerful than it looks. One tap can get you in the conversation.
All right, everybody. Stand by. James with us in just moments. Hey, just make sure Pat can hold. I'd love to find out what the story is there. Keep me posted. Okay. Somebody on the line with a horror story of a millage scenario coming through. I guess they're trying to pass this right now. We also have sad news about Rudy Giuliani, who's in the hospital. I was just talking to Rudy's America's mayor, to I guess the marketing team or the PR team. One of the guys from Michigan, working on getting the mayor on the program, and wanted to see if I'd come on the mayor show. I guess he has a show too. I've seen it on X and I think Rumble and whatnot. So, praying for America's mayor. He's in the hospital.
New York has always found a way to survive. I announced, and I know he's a friend of his, Rudy Giuliani. We're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal.
Love that.
It's a big deal. It's the highest civilian award.
Yep.
It's sort of the civilian equivalent to the Medal of Honor. And we're giving, because Rudy suffered. They made him suffer.
Mm.
And he was the greatest mayor we've ever had. And it was such an honor. But if you look back, and, New York has always been, it's down. It's never going to come back, and it comes back. And I think it'll come back. And I'm going to be helping it from Washington, and it's a big deal.
There's President on that statement about the about America's mayor. Now this was a while back. That audio, that's a while back anyway. But the statement is he is in critical condition. He's been hospitalized. And wasn't it not too long ago he was in a car accident too? There was an issue there. Anyway, praying for him in the latest. Here's another one. And this one is a while back too, from I think it was some sort of statement at dinner or something.
It's a particular honor to receive the Donald J. Trump Award, not only because he's one of our great presidents and will be one of our great presidents, but also he's a very, very good friend and has been for almost 40 years.
So that was about, just a few days ago, April 24th. Is what the date says on the video here. April 24th. Was that a week? Was that a little over a week ago?
So, and since I'm a little bit older than he is, I'm proud of him. The way you are when I first met him, he was like a younger man. And to see what he's accomplished, it made all of it, every single thing, worth it.
Interesting. Again, praying for America's mayor, praying for Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And I don't have any other. I should probably reach out to our contact friend and ask him what's going on. But I just the only thing I think is a time like this, you just critical but stable condition is what they're saying. Let's see if there's any updates on this. So let me check and see if I can find it. And is he in New York or no? He's in Florida. That's right. Currently in the hospital, he remains in critical but stable condition. This is from his spokesperson, the man I know, Ted Goodman. Mayor Giuliani is a fighter who has faced every challenge in his life with unwavering strength, and he's fighting it with the same level of strength as we speak. We do ask that you join us in prayer for America's mayor. No other details or updates, but as we have that, we'll let you know. But please do keep him in prayer. All right, coming up in about a minute. Let's see. Let's call it a minute and a half. We're back on the air. James Dixon joins us. Some of the worst of the worst when it comes to May millages. And the worst of the worst, really, if you think about this, is it's because it's May. You don't expect these May elections. You don't really think about them. They sort of happen off the radar. They're quietly happening off the radar, and you don't pay attention. It's just they kind of like they try and sort of sweep them under the rug. And they do. They fly underneath the radar, so people don't know. And then, it's kind of a busy time of year. You got school wrapping up. You got lots going on. And so people don't realize it. And it's the easiest time for you to be fleeced. So you got to pay attention. I think a lot of if you look at what we're going through, what we've been through, how we got to the situation, I think a lot of the answers, I've seen a lot of people with a lot of good ideas about different things they want to do, but a lot of the answers are you get involved, you get active, you get engaged at the local level, and do it right now.
At Gimmy's Bar and Grill.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Imagine it's Tuesday, May 5th. You just had some drinks with some friends, and you get a text from another buddy. Did you vote today? The f***? Don't be that guy who gets caught unawares when they try to raise your property taxes. The first thing you're going to do after you watch this video is you're going to get on the permanent absentee ballot list in Michigan. The second thing you're going to do, you're going to show up if you have a May 5th millage, and you're going to vote no. Courtesy of fellow enjoyer Anna Hoffman, here's a list of the 5 worst millage proposals on the May 5th ballot. Number 1, Brighton Schools in Livingston County. They want $156 million for facilities upgrades, which is to say, nothing that helps kids learn to read and write.
Hang on. Let me get through all 5 of them with James Dixon in just a minute. But before we do, while we were talking about this, I thought it was kind of interesting. Somebody called and said, we got one of the worst coming through right now. And I thought, okay, let's find out who and what. So on the line with us is Pat in Hopkins. Pat, good morning. How are you? Welcome to West Michigan Live.
Good morning, Justin.
What are they trying to put through right now?
They are trying to put through a $110 million bond proposal for Hopkins School District, which is the largest bond proposal for education in the history of Allegan County.
And what does that give them?
That is giving them it's kind of hard to tell because on the ballot it almost looks more like a slush fund because it's replacing the middle school.
Uh-huh.
It is athletic fields. It is a new auditorium for the school.
Oh, of course. Yeah, why not?
And there is school buses possibly on there and a whole host of other goodies. And they're telling people that this isn't going to cost them anything.
Gold toilets. Well, when it's not your money, And what is it going to cost? Have you figured out what the millage would end up costing?
I did. They're telling them it's not going to cost anything because what they're not telling them is 3.34 mils drops off your current taxes between this year and next year. And in 2032, another 7 mils drops off your taxes. And just on my house, that line item alone is $1,600.
Holy smokes.
And my taxes on my house, I've lived in since 1998 in the Hopkins district. My taxes were $2,400 a year when I moved there, and I'm currently paying $5,900 a year.
Pat, I appreciate the heads up. This is in Hopkins. Folks, pay attention. This is the thing. They sneak these little things through. And I believe, I was just saying this off the air, but a lot of the answers to the things that we're dealing with right now, I think are solved if folks pay attention during these times. James has some words on that. Pat, thank you for calling in.
Here's one more comment. If you've got $150,000 taxable value on your house in the Hopkins district, this will cost you over the life of this bond about $62,000 personally.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not their money. It's yours. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah. People need to realize this.
Yeah. Thank you for the call. Thank you for shining the light on this, Pat. I absolutely appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You got to have a great day. James Dixon joins us now after hearing, hey, mate, maybe it's even made the top 5. Maybe he'll want to reorder at some point. James, welcome in. You just heard Pat in Hopkins talk about how they're coming for him. Maybe this one flew completely underneath the radar altogether, but the funny thing is, they're all the same. This is what they do. They sort of, under cover of darkness when nobody's paying attention, find a way to sort of push these things through and push them through. They do.
Yeah. Good morning, Justin. Great to hear your voice. And, I think the form and function of this is what I find most objectionable, right? You're going to see some of these, these big dollar millages, and that we're almost used to because that's how local governments and schools can raise money. But to try to slide by $156 million on May 5th, when we all know that most people who do vote in November, we have to look at the form and function of that and realize they're trying to avoid scrutiny of the people.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that it's even happening, number one. And then number two, if you do know what's happening, it's very rare that people, it's hard because we're creatures of habits. It's hard to get people to come out and vote in May. You've got to work around to this, though. As people do.
Yeah. So, we're pushing the No May Millage movement. And our hope is to change the political calendar in Michigan so that May millages and August millages become a thing of the past. If there's going to be an election on May 5th, it needs to be like in the Senate 35th District in Saginaw Bay, where it's a special election. It's a rarity, It's an attraction. But I think the best way to avoid being caught unaware is to get on the permanent absentee ballot list. That way you're not out living your life on election day and find out, oh, my God, I'm not going to be able to get over there and vote. You get the ballot sent to you, so you're never surprised that there's an election. And every single time your property taxes come up for vote, you'll be able to participate.
Jim on the chat says, and millages are based on your assessed value. So every time your evaluation goes up, your taxes go up, the school gets more of your money. Which is interesting because, to me, I don't know about you, but, I don't, just because my value of my house went up doesn't mean I got more money coming in my paycheck.
No, it does not.
And a lot of people on fixed income, particularly retirees, are kind of set in a place where they have to deal with these things happening as well, kind of surprising them when they least expect it. It's a shame.
It is a shame, and this is the plan. So think about it. If I'm a school board president and we voted to put a millage on the May 5th ballot, I would be perfectly fine if the only people who showed up to vote were me, my staff, and the most involved parents in the community who probably support the millage.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that turnout goes from, say, 13% to 50%, and I know I didn't try to get 50% of people showing up, then I can infer that they're not there to help me. I also probably don't even know who they are. I don't know how to reach them, and that's going to be bad for me. So low voter turnout is the health of the state, or is an involved citizenry is the best counter. Local government is the place where we could actually take our power back in a direct way.
What else made these top 5?
Yeah, we had another one, and I thought this was kind of egregious. Ingham County Intermediate Schools, they want $100 million for a special ed facility. And to me, that's proof of concept for no May millage. Even if you think the idea itself is sound and worthy, then act that way. Put it on the November ballot. On the November ballot, we have all 151 positions that are Lansing jobs. All of those are going to be on the November ballot. 4 statewide positions. This is when people show up. If your idea is sound, then hold it up to the public scrutiny that will come with the November vote, and don't try to avoid people in May.
James Dixon over on X, he's down I-75, our good friend, with the latest on the millages that are coming through tomorrow. So make sure you know there may be one in your backyard. The other thing James has suggested is getting at the permanent absentee so it always gets sent to you. But, James, there's some precedent here. There's actually some good news. Not too long ago, here in Rockford, they wanted, I think it was $235 million, 430 over 30 years. And the citizens got together and they voted it down because they got engaged, they got active, they got involved. And I think this is starting to see, in fact, some people paying a little bit closer attention. This is the answer. This is how you fight back. Now, not everybody is mobilized and ready to do that, but I think the more people understand what's happening and how they're being robbed blind in some cases, and in fact, there may be some cases where people want these millages, and it's a good thing. Well, if that's the case, it shouldn't be hard to make that case, and then people should be engaged and involved in that process and vote for it.
Absolutely. And Justin, what we ultimately need is to change the Republican voting pattern in Michigan and to take it away from a party that shows up every 4 years for presidential races. They call elections like 26 a midterm because that's what people call it on TV. And they don't realize the power that we have in 26. This is not a Washington election. It's a Lansing election. It's a state election. It's our chance to pick new leadership. It's our final exam. So if we get involved throughout the political calendar, the left has no next move. They're already on their last move, which is trying to get non-citizens to vote. If that door were locked and if we showed up year-round, we could honestly dominate Michigan.
All right, last but not least, there's a special election tomorrow. One that folks in a district that, 35?
Right.
That they might be listening, might need to know about. You're probably not picking us up on the radio, but you might be listening on the iHeartRadio app or online with the Facebook, Twitter, X, and all those different places. What do we need to know about this one? Obviously, this has been in the conversation talk for a while now.
Yeah, what I found fascinating here is that Gretchen Whitmer, our governor, took more than 200 days to even appoint or to name a time for the special election. And when she did, it was 6 months from that. And so they're going on 500 days without representation in the Michigan Senate, which is to say, as they decide an $88 billion budget, an entire community of 270,000 people has gone disenfranchised.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Whitmer delayed it, but let's think about why she delayed it. In Whitmer's first term, she signed 1,000 laws with Republicans running both houses of the legislature. So she has a history of being able to work with them. Why did she take so long now? Because the 2026 Republican is a very different animal than 2022.
Yeah.
And so she fears that it's going to be more of a fight. So she's tried to prolong the fight. And the best way to show that that tactic is going to fail is by showing up and giving Whitmer exactly what she fears, a Republican senator.
So who's on that ballot there?
Yeah, so you have Jason Tunney, you have a lawyer, he's running as the Republican, and then you have Chedrick Green, a firefighter, he's running as the Democrat, Mr. Green has, really gone out of his way to avoid media, avoid debate, avoid any kind of scrutiny, just kind of hoping that, hey, if we keep having Gretchen Whitmer and Alyssa Slotkin and all these superstars come to the district, they'll do the work for me. So it's just underhanded from start to finish, and I really hope that this tactic fails.
James Dixon with all the latest. Follow him for this story and, of course, more. Down I-75 over on Twitter X. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for keeping us up to date. Anything that you got coming up on the podcast you want to let folks know about quickly, too?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Mallory McMorrow this week. Mallory McMorrow is a walking red flag. Thank you, Justin.
Can you hang on for a second? Because I was going to do this next anyway. You might as well hang with me. She was out there over the weekend saying some just insane things on television. Can you hang with us for just a minute? All right, hang on. James will be back on the other side. Back after this, folks. Don't go anywhere. Of course, he's right. She is a walking red flag. We'll tell you why coming up in just moments right here on West Michigan Live. Join the program at any time at 616-774-2424, the iHeartRadio app as well. We have that talkback feature available for you. Justin at justinbarclay.com. One of the stories our good friend Kevin Yoder has been dealing with is trying to help. As you know, the guy's been in real estate for, I don't know. I mean, longer than I can even remember. Anytime I have a question about anything here in West Michigan, real estate-wise, Kevin always has the answers. Because he's helping people buy and sell homes fast and doing it very quickly for a long time with some guarantees. And in fact, same guarantees moving in with his new project, theseniorsmoothmove.com. So if you or a loved one is moving into assisted living, Kevin's got a heart to help you, and feeling overwhelmed with all that has to get done. I get it, because my parents are going through a very similar situation right now. Kevin and the team there at Yoder Real Estate, LPT Realty, built the Senior Smooth Move plan to help families like yours. They'll prep and sell the home, line up the move, coordinate every detail so nothing falls through the cracks. It is a smart way to take control of the entire process and take the stress off your plate, because that's the last thing you need at a time like this. You really want to focus on your family more than anything else, right? The things that matter most. Schedule your free in-home consultation. Go to seniorsmoothmove.com or call Kevin today at 616-303-5671. Let me give you that number again. 616-303-5671, or go online to seniorsmoothmove.com and talk to Kevin today. Tell him I sent you.
Focused on what matters to you. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM, and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Monday, May 4th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. House Republicans unveiling a package of bills to eliminate property taxes, repeal the state education tax, and create a new services tax. The plan would eliminate several taxes while introducing a new statewide tax on luxury services, which Republicans suggest could save property owners here about $900 a year. Michigan State Senator Democrat Mallory McMorrow's deleted online rants coming back to bite her campaign for U.S. Senate. I wish I never left California, she writes in one of more than 6,000 deleted posts on X. McMorrow also writing negative things about Middle America and Michigan in particular, and she complained about President Trump's border wall cutting off America's flow of Mexican avocados. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
All right, folks, thank you so much for rolling along with us. Get her in the house today. Dan's here with us. Thank you, Dan. And did I see somebody in Austria, Salzburg? Did I see that on the chat here earlier? One of our regulars, I think. Who was that? It flew past and it's escaped my mind now. That's amazing that folks are taking us with them all over. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and click share right now. If you do so, you'll be in the running
particularly on Facebook. It helps us a lot. Break the algorithm, the wacky things that Facebook is doing, particularly lately. But help us break the algorithm. Share Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, wherever you're watching. And share if you can. Tag us in Facebook so I know where you're sharing, and that'll definitely help us get the word out. If you do, somebody by the end of the show is going to win something cool, whether it's a tee, a hoodie, a mug, something cool from inside the Justin store. You can go shop there right now. We got America 250 gear coming soon. But in the meantime, love to just give you something inside the Justin store. Whether you're watching the stuff with the Strait of Hormuz, you're hearing some of the latest about wars, rumors of wars. And I heard Glenn talk the other day about droughts. We could have a nasty drought headed our way this year. Well, no matter what happens, you can be ready with the folks at My Patriot Supply. Go to preparewithjustin.com. And they got all kinds of great. The solar generator stuff, they've got all kinds of good deals on the food, the seeds. And they've got a storm pack, a collection right now. You can save up to 25% off on storm essentials because it's not just droughts or wars, it's storms that come through that are also issues. And we've seen plenty of those springtime here in Michigan anyway. So again, preparewithjustin.com, preparewithjustin.com, and that'll get you right where you need to go. And anything you do there not only helps you, it's like a double win. It helps us. It supports this program as well while you're at it. So we appreciate all of the help, all of the support. You make it happen. And of course, folks just like you keep us on the air. And we really appreciate that more than anything else. All right. So back on the air here in just a moment. We got about 10 seconds and we're going to get to Mally McMorrow in just one moment. Stand by, folks. I note that the carpetbagger, Mallory McMorrow, says she doesn't really like it here in Michigan. She's running for Senate. Why run for Senate? Why not run back to California? But she's got a bigger issue, too. James Dixon staying on hold with us here. James, she voted in California when she was living in Michigan. Now, I don't know if California would charge her, but it seems to me like there's some sort of major voter fraud violation.
Okay, so there were tweets of hers where you seem to take a jab at rural America. In 2016, a user posted, quote, "I'm from the rural Midwest." All this talk about coastal elites needing to understand more of America has it backwards. You wrote in response to that user, "This thread, I'm from rural New Jersey, this ranks 100%. So do you stand by that sentiment that rural parts of America can learn from coastal elites?
I think we all need to understand.
Yeah, she does. By the way, I don't have to play the whole thing for you. She does. She does. And she's not hiding it. Again, why do you want to move to Michigan and then run for Senate here if you don't even want to be here? Make it make sense, James.
It's worse than that, Justin. Not only does she not want to be here, but twice in her memoir, Hate Won't Win. It should be called Hating on Michigan Won't Win, by the way. Twice in that memoir, she says, ignore the feds. It's like advice to the reader, basically saying that the real problems and the real power are found in state and local politics, which is where she works. She's a state senator right now. So how do you go from ignore the feds in 2025 to running for Michigan Senate or for the U.S. Senate in 26? It's the same reason why she lives in Michigan in the first place. It is a lust for power. It is not a thrust towards service.
Yeah, again, bottom line, they don't care about you. That's probably the easiest we can say it. James doing a deep dive on this on the podcast coming up soon. Again, where can they find the podcast?
Yes, sir. That's James Dixon Podcast. I'm on Substack. I'm on Spotify, YouTube as well.
And follow him again, like I said, Twitter X, down I-75. Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Justin. Be blessed.
You too. And have a great week. So we got temperatures in the 70s today. We'll take that here. Cooling off a little bit later on this week, but the news doesn't. It never cools off, and it probably won't be that way for a long time anyway. We'll try to keep up with it all. In fact, fastest hour radio has already flown by. I got good news I want to get to. I got some strange stuff as well. coming up in the after show, the show after the show. Stock market, Dow's down about 180 points. It's about where the futures were. We'll keep an eye on that for you with oil prices and more. All coming up. Oh, the latest arrest, the latest Democrat arrested. We'll have that in the after show. JustinBarclay.com, Facebook, Twitter X, Rumble, Getter Locals, YouTube, all those places as well. The Glenn Beck program coming up in just moments. You can listen live or archive to this show and the after show over at the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, and our glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
The Whitecaps are...
All right, folks, stand by. Hey, Jim, I got your email, by the way. I just saw you asking about that. I got you taken care of, my friend. I'll send you a reply probably today. Probably today. All right. Thank you so much for your support. Means the world, by the way, guys. It really does. Stand by. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and click share. We're going to get the show on the road. We got the after show rolling right along. Here we Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Your show, the show after the show. Never a dull moment, never enough time to get it all in, get it all done. That's why we started the after show. You asked for it, you demand it. We're giving the people what they want. Democrats in handcuffs, part of it anyway. That story coming up in the latest Democrat to land in handcuffs. Somebody called earlier, I think it was Mike, who said, hey, I don't believe, and I get it. We didn't get a chance to get to him, unfortunately, on the phone. But I know what he's going to say, and I understand it. I get it. So many people, and we feel so let down. We've been through it all. We don't believe there's any hope. There's any help. By the way, that's part of the plan. They want to get you demoralized. It's straight out of the KGB, by the way, that tactic, demoralization. Over the last 50, 100 years, they've been trying with this country, and successfully in some ways. Look at where we are today. Nobody believes anything. And because of that, we are, in a lot of ways, demoralized. And speaking of some of the crazier things, there's a spiritual fight happening. There's a psychological operation. There's a spiritual operation. Some of these things that are happening right now. And I got to talk about Tucker too at some point. So let's get to those things coming up in just a little bit. But first, click share on the show. If you do, you'll help us get the word out about what we're doing. Plus, you'll help us break the algorithm. A little truth, logic, and common sense injected into the folks that need it most. I got tees, hoodies, mugs, all kinds of stuff from the Justin store. And somebody at the end of the program is going to pick something up cool. Whether it's a tee, mug, hoodie. We'll pick somebody out of the pot here to win. Healthwithjustin.com. Maha Missy, we just aired our big Arrest Fauci episode. Well, they're starting. Speaking of Democrats in handcuffs, last week we learned they got one of Fauci's advisors. If you haven't heard it yet, go online and check that out. It's really cool. They've got a 20% off discount right now if you want to join me and my wife in the Maha movement. We're both down a little over 30 pounds, feeling great, better than ever, more energy, sleeping better at night, less joint pain, those types of issues. 269-964-4044. More people are getting off their medications. They're feeling better than ever and getting healthy from the inside out. Find out what it's all about when you go to healthwithjustin.com and save. I think 20%. You can lose 2 to 3 pant sizes in just 40 days. Get off those medications, sleep apnea, all those things that people are seeing real problems, real issues with. And, of course, we want to see you healthy and in the fight because why? We need you. We need you in the fight now more than ever.
Like our good friend Mike Lindell, mypillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. You can help support Mike. They got the spring fling sale right now with sheets and mattresses and towels and all kinds of great things on sale. The coffee, 50% off as I sip mine this morning, getting things going. Lock in and save today with mypillow.com or mystore.com/Justin. And one thing that I really talk, because I don't really drink energy drinks. I don't really have the need for them anymore, but they've got a new energy drink called Rev 7. It's supposed to be healthier for you. And I don't check it out. Check it out. Maybe it's one of those things you like to help support Mike and grab some samples as well. Again, mypillow.com/Justin and mystore.com/Justin to get it going. All right, so Comey's not the only one. Over the weekend, we know Democrats in handcuffs. The story came out, and it's a similar situation. A Pennsylvania Democrat Senate candidate, Raymond Chandler, has been arrested after leaving multiple voicemails threatening to kill Senator John Fetterman's 13-year-old daughter and President Trump. When they tell you who they are, believe them. Again, this is a Democrat. He's trying to run to challenge. He wants to primary John Fetterman. John Fetterman, the only Democrat with any common sense, it seems, these days. Otherwise, they're like this nutshot.
I got fired on a Thursday.
I don't know, by the way, if there's any profanity in this. I have to warn you. I'm not sure.
And I thought about it. And that Friday, I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to run against John Fetterman for Senate in 2028.
I got fired, so I thought maybe I'll run against John Fetterman. Okay, bro. All right. In one voicemail on April 18th, just days ago, Chandler allegedly described the graphic scenario in which the congressman and his 13-year-old daughter, well, he's a senator, so yeah, would be pulled out of your house, quote, and have their throat slit, end quote. According to the affidavit, days later, April 29th, Chandler allegedly left another message urging the lawmaker to assassinate President Trump, telling them to walk into the Oval Office with a gun in your hand and put it to President Trump's head and pull the trigger. That's not even possible. Number one. And number two, I mean, how insane do you have to be?
And I thought about it a little bit longer, and I thought, man, that's insane. Like, who's going to vote for me? A random guy in Pittsburgh who's just a game designer who cares about other people and comes from a working class family, who's a first generation college graduate, is a self-made man. Who's going to vote for me? And then I heard God, so I got fired on a Thursday.
Yeah, he said he heard God. He heard God tell him to go. Apparently, he was listening when God told him to go get the go send those messages to Fetterman, too, apparently. That was, listen, folks, this whole hearing God thing, this business, pretty easy. Did you really hear from God or not? It's just very simple. Line it up with the Word, line it up with the Bible, and if it lines up, maybe you did. Maybe you did hear from God. If it's completely opposed to what is in that book, you did not, I can guarantee you did not hear from God. That wasn't him. I can tell you that much right now. I can tell you that right now. Another Democrat in handcuffs. This guy, I think, probably will. Not only will he get, because he got fired, I do feel bad for the guy. He's probably having a mental breakdown. He wasn't probably altogether there. Folks, what we're watching right now is there's psychological damage done to lots of people in this country. In fact, I heard a stat this weekend I thought was interesting. Is that since 2020, people have seen significant dips in their mental health states. That's across all demographics, everybody, all across the board, significant dips in their mental health. The only group that didn't quite have that same issue, Christians, like actual believers, actual followers. So I said this before, and I'll say it again. It's part of the reason that I do what I do here is to remind. We're going to go through the headlines. We're going to have these conversations of stories that matter most. I'm going to talk about, because some of these stories, look, you can't put your head in the sand. You have to. You absolutely, you have to make sure that you're informed. Because you got to know so you can make the best decisions for you and your family, right? But at the end of the day, discernment plays a big role. And the truth is, again, they want us hopeless, helpless, and feeling those ways. Like there's nothing that's going to happen. That we live in this system that, there's nothing you can do to fight. The resistance is futile, the Borg and all that. That's what they want us to feel. And it's not just Democrats, because I just saw this, don't feel sorry for sick Democrats. It's not just them. It's people on the right that are being attacked right now, too. And I don't know. I have yet to see anybody effectively, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I have yet to see anybody effectively defend against this. I've done a little digging into some of this, but I don't see anything that writes this whole thing. So let me show you what happened over the weekend. The New York Times sat down with Tucker Carlson. And they did an interview with him. And again, Tucker's a guy who I've liked. I think he's a good guy. I'm surprised to see what I've seen from him lately. But Tucker is one of these guys that has gone, it seems to me anyway, and maybe it's well-intended, maybe it's not. I don't know. But he's kind of gone off the rails. And this is the latest example. Well, I've been asking people to think about this as we talk about these things and these people to pray for them. New York Times asked Tucker about specifically things he said in the past, and then they bring the video receipts, and Tucker denies it. It's kind of hard to watch.
You've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because...
By the way, there's a reason for that. This part has been debunked, too, and I'll talk about that in a second.
He affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because...
I know they did, because the minute I heard them, I said, oh man, somebody check on Tucker. Something's off. Maybe he meant something different. That's not, it's pretty simple. I think it's kind of clear what it sounds like is what he meant.
I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it.
That part I do believe is real. And part of the issue I'm seeing right now, I think immature Christians or people that are new to the faith, and I think even immature people that are new to conservatism, I'm not saying Tucker is, but People that are new to the faith are new to this movement, faith, family, freedom, and exactly what we've been seeing. Charlie Kirk, President Trump, the MAGA movement, the America First, all of these things. I think people that are new to, I think they're easily picked off. I think they're easily targeted because they don't have roots, because they don't have deep roots. In either case, either understanding, politics, and I get it because, when I first really started paying attention, and I'm learning every day, but when I first started paying attention to this stuff, I didn't understand everything. I made some mistakes, and I said things that probably now I look back and say that's probably not right. But anyway, I think what we're dealing with is someone who is trying to understand it all, but I don't know. I've been under spiritual attack for sure. But it is also possible he knows exactly what he's doing. I don't know. But the New York Times sort of, I don't know, miraculous gotcha moment. I don't know. Maybe they thought he was going to clarify what he meant in some way.
Just one, I actually tried to understand it. I may have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing in on that because
Again, who's the son? This is a tactic that he uses, whether he realizes it or not. It's his way of saying, I'm asking.
Don't understand it.
You've been talking.
How do we deal with this? As people of faith, how do we deal with it? Now, the thing about the Bible, Trump swearing on the Bible, this whole issue, and I went back and looked at it for the inauguration. From what I saw, and I have to look, you go dig and do the digging yourself. Don't take my word for it. But when he was sworn in, I believe what happened, John Roberts. See, here's the picture. This is the picture they're wondering about. This is the last time in the Capitol in the Rotunda, John Roberts is doing the swearing in. By the way, this is already done. Just so you know, he's already president when he's doing this. From everything I remember and hearing about this ceremony, they've actually sworn him in, I think, ahead of time, and I think this is pomp and circumstance at this point. But from the story that I remember hearing, and I have to go back and see it. Maybe I don't know if I can find it today, but I'll go back and look for the footage. But John Roberts, when the ceremony happened, everything's a little different. It is happening in the Capitol. John Roberts started the swearing in a little too quickly. And apparently Melania she tried to get over there to him in time. And apparently Trump was being sworn in, so he didn't move his hand or change. But in 2017, Trump placed his left hand on two Bibles, his mother's and the Lincoln Bible, while taking the oath. In 2025, he raised his right hand but kept his left at his side. Melania held the same two Bibles. Chief Justice Roberts began the oath before she reached him. He continued without touching them. It's tradition, but not required by law or constitution. And it's also not required by his faith. It's just not. So that's another thing. But the problem is that you hear Tucker saying things that he hasn't dug into, or just repeating things that either someone's told him or they're online memes and this is tough. I get it. We got to do it every day. Come in here and try to give you the truth. Sometimes I mess up. We got to admit when I do. Here's another piece from the interview this weekend. where he's kind of caught doing this, some people said thing, and I get it. I understand. But again, I'm not completely throwing Tucker or anyone else, under the bus. I'm just saying, I think we got to pray for these guys. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but it's obvious there are issues here.
JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, nonstop treachery from people on the neoconservative side.
Who are these people?
Around Marco Rubio. And they have been totally against JD Vance from the very beginning.
Who do you mean specifically?
I don't know is the real answer. I don't know.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering.
Well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure, and I know they were so mad about JD getting that job. I mean,
who's they? Within the White House?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there, so if you don't work there, you can say you can say what you think but it's hard to really know.
This is me looking skeptical.
Yeah, well, no, but it's me being honest. I don't really know.
You gotta go watch the whole. You gotta. I hate giving. I hate giving the New York Times any promotion at all. But you got to go watch this stuff, and you got to find out. You got to see it for yourself, because again, how do you defend any of this? Well, he just made something up. You just made something up, though. And then he says, well, I don't know. But you just said it as though you did. And again, I like Tucker, but we can't do that. I can't do that. I never tell you when I don't know things. I tell you when I think I know something. I tell you when I think I have an idea. Or here's what is being said. Here's a theory. Here's some thoughts on this. But again, these whole, you're presenting it as it's fact. And again, the other issue that's at play here is, and this is a big one, but the other issue is at play here is that the model that this whole thing works on, the model that it works on essentially is more grandiose, the more outlandish, the more insane things that are said, drive clicks and podcast views and listens and downloads, et cetera. And that, again, drives traffic for your sponsors and everything else. And so they're incentivized to not, necessarily be boring is not really the way I want to put it, but as buttoned up as they need to be. So again, here's another instance of this where, but he'll say that President Trump's being held hostage.
You said he's the hostage just now. You told the BBC he's a slave to foreign interests.
Correct.
So I just want to ask you to be sort of explicit. I mean, Trump is being held hostage by whom? Or by who,
Benjamin
or by
Netanyahu and by his many advocates in the United States. And we know that.
Wait a minute. We don't know that. It's your opinion. It's your opinion. And that's fine if you want to have that opinion. But we don't know that. You could say, I believe because
Trump started the war on February 28th, but because he couldn't get out of it. He declares we're having a ceasefire. This was 4 weeks in. He says we're having a ceasefire. And we're having these talks, and they're going great, and we're going to open the strait. And Iran says, yeah, one of our conditions is Israel's got to pull back from southern Lebanon. You can't use the Iran war as a pretext for stealing more land from a sovereign country. That's not your country. No. And it's not just Iran who felt that way. I think the rest of the world's like, what are you doing? I thought we were, fighting the great existential threat, Iran, and now you're taking the opportunity to take Lebanon shore of the Litani River and bombing downtown Beirut. What is this? Anyway, this was all very well known.
Tammy, that's exactly what I said, and I tend to agree. I haven't read that yet, but I will. This is the problem, and we've had two things, and amazing things happened in the last few years, particularly, and it's the shaking that brought us here. It's people looking for the truth and authentically really looking for the truth. And so they've rushed out to get it. Their eyes are opening up. They're awakening. and they're looking for the truth. And so they go out and they find faith. And it's just like the parable of the sower. Like their roots, they need to be protected because their roots aren't quite in the soil all the way yet. One of the things that we tend to do, because we're just so happy to see people that have done this, and I'm not saying this with Tucker, but this is happening with some people online, influencers, etc., is that we take them and we lift them up on a pedestal. We give them this huge platform. We platform them. Oh, this is a great example. And there have been several people that this has happened with who end up again, and then they feel the pressure to use this platform, and then they get swayed. And a lot of times you see them falling. But it's not just with the faith; it's also with politics as well, because they don't understand that they're in the fight, and then everything's a thing. So everything is a conspiracy, or everything is, like everybody's deep state or everybody's a rhino, and then there's a lot of that happening. So I understand where that comes from, but they don't fully understand the grasp because they haven't seen enough. They haven't been around it. They don't have the experience and the wisdom. So absolutely, I 100% agree. Steve Deschy says put out a good commentary this morning about all of this, and I agree with him. This is all going to get worse. So those who are not deeply rooted in a biblical foundation are either going to think they are right, living their lives according to the gospel of themselves, or they will fall for a lot of deception. Stay in the word. Use the discernment of the Holy Spirit and stay prayed up. I 100% agree. And one of the things I'll tell you is I've been pretty protective of this audience, folks. I look at you, and I know you don't necessarily, maybe some of you don't need this, but I get really defensive, may not be the best word, but I get protective because I see this happening with so many things. And I've seen it before, but the division is a tactic of the enemy. Why? We were so united. Look what we did in 2024. Trump was never supposed to win. He was never supposed to live. He was never supposed to survive. Not just what happened in Butler, but any of the legal attacks. The guy's supposed to be in jail or dead right now. And look what's happened. So it's no wonder to me the enemy's found his way in. The weeds here and there in the middle of our movement. Of course, some of those need to be plucked. Some of that is going to it's going to happen. But you've got to understand, some of these things that we're watching, seeing, most of it, really, it's, yes, psychological warfare. Yuri Bezmenov, I think was his name. I played you the clips from him previously. The guy, former KGB agent years ago, talked about the demoralization campaign the Soviet Union had against the United States. We're seeing that. It's come to fruition. And some of the things that we're seeing play out right now, some of the biggest voices online in the mediascape, particularly the right-wing conservative voices, are confused. Pray for these people. We got to call out things when we see them happen. Yes, we'll call out some of the nonsense when we see it happen, but at the same time, we've got to make sure that we're praying for them too. So, watch this interview with Tucker if you want to spend time with it. Go actually watch the full interview. But to me, it's pretty clear when Tucker was making statements about Trump being the Antichrist or not, I just thought, he really needs our help. He needs our prayers. He needs the Lord's help. But I like him. This is the thing. I like Tucker. Candace, I don't know. I haven't watched her, don't know her much. Alex Jones, it's another example. I like Alex. Now, I don't like or agree and believe everything he says, But he's gotten a lot right. And these are people that have been valuable, helpful to the movement, the mission. And I think a lot of them do have their hearts in the right place. I don't know what's caused some of the, the turn. I don't know. How could I know exactly? I speculate on it. There's questions about whether or not they're taking money or whether or not they've been influenced in some way or the other. I don't know about all that. I'd have to see hard facts and evidence before I, actually was able to make a call on that. Is it possible? It certainly is. But I think what's also just as equal as impossible is the fact that maybe they mean well. And maybe they're just being led astray, I don't know. But in the meantime, I will say we can pray for these people. And we ought to, because we all need each other in this fight. We all need each other in this fight. Over the weekend, another big one, Harmeet Dillon, with, actually, I think she was with Glenn. And is it Moms for Liberty? They were at Ellis Island. They did a really, really cool event there for America 250. And she spoke about her life, it being such a great gift, and what she sought to do, obviously, or the story about her parents and coming here, etc. What an amazing moment.
And this is a very special night for me. When I came out, I had a few words I wanted to say, but everyone had their hands over their hearts, and so I went straight into the pledge, which is something that is so special to me as an immigrant. So we didn't come through Ellis Island in 1970. We flew to JFK. And, mom and dad was a young doctor. And during the Vietnam War, we had a shortage of doctors in America. And so they invited doctors. My dad was an orthopedic surgeon. Mom and dad left India in the 1970s because it was a Russian client state. They had a dictated 2 children policy and a planned economy, and mom and dad didn't want to raise their kids in that kind of an environment. So they came to America, and besides life, the greatest gift that mom and dad gave me was bringing me here to America and allowing me to be sworn in as a naturalized American citizen when I was 10 years old. My mom in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so my dad was very proud of me. He passed away about 15 months ago. He got to see his daughter become the lawyer for the former and the future president of the United States. My mom and my brother got to sit behind me during my Senate confirmation hearing and see me shoot down a lot of very dumb and obnoxious questions from a number of Democrat senators. And before I took this job, and when the president and Pam Bondi called me in November, I had become well known for representing moms and kids and American citizens against the tyranny of the state all over the United States, including my home state of California. And standing up for young girls who the state and the doctors tried to take away their womanhood, and standing up for moms and dads who were being denied the right to control their children's education by the state. And today I get to do that job for the United States. So this is an American success story. I'm very proud to be an American, and I'm very grateful to be here with you tonight on Ellis Island, the symbol of all that is great with this country. Thank you so much.
An interesting night that night, and I think special in terms of what it meant, and really the contrast. I think if you really look at the difference between legal and illegal immigration and what made this country great, right? The people that came here that really wanted to be here, that knew what America was about, what it stood for, and wanted to be a part of it, and not just their own separate thing, like a fractured piece of where they came from, or an invasion. That's a whole nother issue. It's a contrast that's just undeniable. One bit of brevity from the weekend. DJ Marco Rubio, as if a guy doesn't have enough jobs already. I don't know what he's for here. The guy wedding or something. He got up and DJ'd. This is hilarious to watch. People are jumping up and down. They love the fact that he's DJ Marco Rubio. Oh gosh, that's too much. It's hilarious. Wait, so where did all this go down? Because I've seen the memes until I can't wait. I'm probably gonna have even more. He's DJing at a family wedding using headphones, a laptop mixing gear, playing upbeat EDM tracks. Rubio's shown nodding to the music. That's hilarious. Over 2 million views now, thousands of people are calling him DJ Lil Marco. It's just hilarious. And then you get like these memes coming out right now. We do need more Rubio. I mean, he's a Make America vibe again. Oh, Freedom Family Base, One Nation, One Beat, Let's Go. DJ Lil Marco spinning freedom worldwide. No socialism. That's hilarious. That is incredible. Another really good story and a piece of good news. In fact, this comes, I think Dina sent this to me over maybe it was yesterday, or earlier this morning, but a story of a man who's talked down off of a bridge. A police officer saved his life with prayer.
This dramatic video shows police in Jacksonville, Florida, helping rescue a man in crisis on a bridge earlier this month. Watch.
Whatever you're going through, man, you can get through it. No, listen, man, listen. You can get through this. Come on, let's talk about it for a minute. Can I at least have a prayer with you? You believe in prayer, I know that. Just touch my hand. Just touch my hand, man. I'm praying with you. But if you jump, you're going to hurt other people. And they're going to be hurting just like you're hurting now. The cycle got to stop of hurt. There you go, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, bro. There you go. Come on, man.
Wow. That Jacksonville officer who helped that man in crisis is Officer Antonio Richardson. He joins us now. Wow.
What a story. This is incredible.
Fantastic job. You clearly saved that man's life. Can you, officer, can you bring me back to that moment? You get a call. It looks like a guy is going to jump from a bridge. Then what did you do?
When I got the call, it wasn't my call. I was just there to stop the traffic. And then a couple other officers who knew my position as a pastor, they asked me to come over and talk with the guy. And I just engaged him in conversation. Didn't know what I was going to say. Nothing was scripted. I just, Spirit of God, and just shared with him my heart. I did not want to see him jump. And at that time, I did not believe he was going to jump. I just felt within myself that God was going to spare his life, and he did.
By the way, when people say things like, "Can you hear one nation under God?" You hear, you know what I mean. You hear these conversations of we need make America great again. We need to put the Lord first and all that. This is what it looks like. Do you imagine if this is one man, a police officer, doing this work, doing this job? Do you imagine if every politician, folks in our military, there's already quite a bit of, there's always quite a bit of faith injected there. But can you imagine what it would look like, how the world would be a better place, how the country would be a better place if everybody in those positions were people of faith? just like this officer. That's what it means, folks. That is what it means. That's how you walk it out. Faith first. Well, I am eternally grateful for all of your support and for making this program each and every day part of your day. Thank you for sharing. Obviously, people help us get the word out. You support us in so many different ways, whether it's the sponsors and partners of this program, just giving us your time, commenting, clicking like, sharing. All of those things help us get the word out about what we're doing. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate your help each and every day. And folks, this is more than ever, always means the world. Probably more than I'll ever be able to tell you. So that being said, let's say thank you to our winner today, sharing a carrot contest, David. More than ever, always. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Means the world. The program today. Probably more than I'll ever be able to tell you. We won't do that to you. Hey, so that being said, let's say thank you to our winner today, sharing a carrot contest, David. More than ever, always. Man, thank you so much for sharing. If that's the case, what a great serendipitous moment. Probably more than I'll ever be able to tell you. We meant this to happen, but it's not. A great story. Hey, so that being said, let's say thank you to our winner today, sharing a carrot contest, and then David. More than ever, always. If that's the case, what a great serendipitous moment. Probably more than I'll ever be able to tell you. We meant this to happen, but it's not. A great story. Hey, so that being said, let's say thank you to our winner today. Is that right? More than ever, always. If that's the case, what a great probably more than I'll ever be able to tell you. But it's not. In the meantime, so that being said, let's say thank you to our shirts, the hoodies, the mugs, and more. Yeah, we got America 250 stuff coming soon. We'll get you some of that. The announcement on the way. But in the meantime, we appreciate you. Thank you. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.